All right, guys, this is Coach Lambert. I'm going to take you through the second half of 8-4. Guys, this is not in the book at all. What I'm about to show you is not in the book, but it's something that is vital as you move forward into Algebra 1. With me teaching pre-algebra and Algebra 1, this concept here is something that's very important that you're going to go through probably first, second quarter in Algebra 1, and you have to be prepared and know what to do. So all we're going to do today is learn about slope-intercept form, okay? So I'm adding slope-intercept form to 8-4 in our book, okay? And guys, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, okay? I'm not even going to dive into what the letters stand for just yet. I just want you to know that in order to put something in this form, you have to isolate the y, okay? So all we're doing for homework tonight is getting the y by itself. That's putting an equation in slope-intercept form. So if I give you an equation, okay, like 2x minus 4y equals 8, okay? That's a linear equation because it contains an x and a y. If I want you to write it in slope-intercept form, I want you to write it like this, which means all I want you to do is to isolate the y on one side by itself. Get the y by itself. That's the homework tonight. For every single question we have, all you're trying to do is get the y by itself. We're not interested in graphing tonight. All we're going to do is get the y by itself. So here I go. If I want to get this y term by itself, I have to get the x term to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. 2x minus 2x cancels. So on the left side, I'm left with negative 4y equals 8 minus 2x. Now look, 8 minus 2x, I can't do those. I can't add or subtract those because they're unlike terms. They don't have the same variable, okay? So I can't do that. So if we look at where we're at now to the form we're trying to get it in, we're close. We're not quite there yet because we're trying to get the y by itself. This is negative 4y, okay? So the y is not by itself yet. So hopefully you're thinking in your head right now, all right, well, what do I need to do to get rid of this negative 4, to get the y by itself? And think about it. This is negative 4 times y. So I have to do the inverse. I'm going to divide by negative 4. Now, this is something that's a little bit different that you need to pay attention to. There are two terms on this side. So if I divide the left side by negative 4, I also need to divide the right side by negative 4. But there are two terms that are on the right side. You have to divide both of those terms by negative 4. Watch what happens. This cancels. Y equals 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. And negative 2x divided by negative 4. Well, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 2 over 4 can reduce to 1/2. So plus 1/2 x. Now, let's double check. Is this in this form? Is the y by itself? Yes. Is the x term the first term on the right side? No, it's not. So what I got to do is I just got to flip these two to make sure I put the x term in front. So my final answer is y equals 1/2 x minus 2. Now I got it in that y equals mx plus b form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So all I did at the very end, guys, was flip and put the x term in front and put the -2 in the back. Okay? Let's go ahead and try another example. Again, that's all we're doing tonight, is getting the y by itself to put it in this slope-intercept form. Okay? Now, let's say we have another example. Let's go with maybe something like 3x minus y equals 5. Okay? Again, our ultimate goal, what we're trying to do, is get the y by itself. Isolate the y. Well, in order to do that, I have to get this 3x term to the other side. This was a positive 3x. I'm going to do the inverse and subtract 3x. That cancels. I'm left with negative y. A lot of people forget this minus here, but that goes with the y. Negative y equals. I can't do 5 minus 3x because they're unlike terms. But what I am going to do is I'm going to change the order, because we learned we want to have the x term in front on the right side. So if I change the order of these, it should be negative 3x plus 5. A lot of people want to write 3x minus 5. But keep in mind, this is a positive 5, and this is a negative 3x. Okay? So if you look here, and look what we're trying to get it into, we're very, very, very close. This has a y by itself. This does not. Remember, this is like negative 1y. So in order to get the y by itself, I have to divide every term by negative 1. And when I do that, a negative divided by a negative cancels. I get y equals negative 3 divided by negative 1 is positive 3x. And positive 5 divided by negative 1 is negative 5. Y equals 3x minus 5. I have it in that y equals mx plus b form. Y equals mx plus b. That's my slope-intercept form. And that's all we're doing tonight, guys, is trying to isolate the y and get the y by itself. Okay? We'll do one last one, and then we'll call it quits for the day. Okay? Let's try one last example. Let's go negative 2y minus 12 equals negative 3. Okay? X. Excuse me. Negative 2y minus 12 equals negative 3x. Again, all we're trying to do is get the y by itself. So I got to get the y by itself. But before I can do any multiplication or division, I got to get rid of this negative 12. I got to get rid of the addition and subtraction. First step, add 12 to both sides. When I do that, negative 12 plus 12 cancels. I get negative 2y equals. Guys, these are unlike terms. One has an x and one doesn't. I can't add those. Now I'm close. I don't quite have the y by itself yet. This is negative 2 times y. I have to do the inverse operation. I got to divide by negative 2. What I do to this side, I got to do to the other side. And since there are two terms on the other side, I got to divide both of them by negative 2. This cancels. I get y equals. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And guys, since 3 doesn't divide by 2, I'm just going to leave it as 3 over 2. Don't write it as a decimal, okay? Just make sure it's a reduced fraction. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, so it's just going to be 3 over 2x. And positive 12 divided by negative 2 is -6. Y equals mx plus b. We're in slope-intercept form. What this is going to allow us to do, guys, this is amazing. We're no longer going to have to do the t-chart, show all that work, plug in 3 values for x, find 3 points, then graph the line. Once we write it into this slope-intercept form, we can graph the line straight from here. And that's going to be what we do tomorrow, okay? So that's the reason why we're putting it in this form, is because we're going to use it to graph it. It's going to make it a little bit easier, okay? So I hope these 3 examples on how to get y by itself and write it in slope-intercept form was helpful. Homework tonight, guys, is posted. I think it's 7 or 8 problems you have to do. Do not graph those problems. I'm changing the directions. All I want you to do is in your notebook or on loose leaf is to write the original equation, and I want you to show the work like I showed here of getting the y by itself. Then I want you to box your answer and you're done. So that's all I want you to do, is do this for 7 or 8 problems. Take a picture with your phone and then email it to my Brother Martin email address, which is mlambert@brothermartin.com. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.